A man's car is struck by a stranger, who kills him when the man steps out to take pictures of the damage for the purpose of filing a car insurance claim. Jung Tae-Suk, an honest police officer, investigates the crime scene and suspects that it could be the work of a serial killer, but his superior dismisses his theory. The victim had been stabbed multiple times, and Tae-Suk uncovers evidence suggesting that the victim's car was rear-ended, indicating the presence of another vehicle at the scene which later fled. Tae-Suk believes that the pattern of stab wounds aligns with similar cases he has been tracking, including at least 4 previous incidents, leading him to conclude that the murder is the work of a serial killer. Tae-Suk is also investigating Gangster Jang Dong-Soo, who has been bribing Tae-Suk's higher-ups. Despite his superior's orders, Tae-Suk disregards protocol and conducts unsanctioned raids on Dong-Soo's businesses. Meanwhile, Gangster Jang Dong-Soo is returning home after a meeting with his rival gang leader Sang-do, where they disagree on the division of territories. Sang-do is unhappy with being limited to the slots and arcade business, while Dong-Soo insists that Sang-do should be content with what he has. In an unexpected turn, the killer rear-ends Dong-Soo's car and attempts to kill him. A fight breaks out, resulting in both men sustaining injuries. However, Dong-Soo is a formidable individual, more than capable of defending himself. During the struggle, Dong-Soo manages to stab the killer a few times with the killer's own knife. The killer eventually escapes, knocking Dong-Soo with his car, and Dong-Soo is rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Dong-Soo's men mistakenly assume that the rival gang, led by Sang-do, is responsible for the crimes and launch an attack. The killer, however, tends to his own wounds in a secluded area of his car, before proceeding to kill a guard at a dog impound. Dong-Soo does not believe that the killer is connected to his rival gang, as the killer's actions seem disorganized and aimless. Tae-Suk visits Dong-Soo in the hospital and requests his cooperation in capturing the killer, but Dong-Soo refuses. Tae-Suk later inspects Dong-Soo's car, discovering more evidence of a rear-end collision, confirming his suspicions that the serial killer is involved. Dong-Soo orders his men to search for the killer based on a sketch, and they manage to locate the killer's car and a knife, used in the murder of another man in the area. The knife was found 3 kilometers away from the killer's car, and the killer, having abandoned the vehicle, is now driving a garbage truck. Dong-Soo eventually shares these findings with Tae-Suk. Tae-Suk insists that the killer is indeed a serial killer and warns Dong-Soo that more people are likely to die if the killer is not apprehended soon. The two decide to work together to catch the killer. Dong-Soo is motivated by the damage this random incident has caused to his reputation and business, and agrees to help, with the condition that whoever finds the killer first will claim ownership of the kill. Dong-Soo wants revenge, while Tae-Suk seeks to solve the 5 connected murders and use the case as a stepping stone for a promotion. Dong-Soo orders his right-hand man Kwon Oh-sung to kill rival gang leader Hyo Sang-do using the killer's knife, which still bears the bloodstains of the killer's previous victims. Tae-Suk, enraged upon discovering what Dong-Soo has done, confronts him as this act confirms the serial killer's involvement in the murder, and the case is subsequently transferred to the major case squad. Dong-Soo attends Sang-do's funeral, where the killer also makes an appearance. The killer informs Sang-do's second-in-command that Dong-Soo killed Sang-do using the same knife. When Tae-Suk and Dong-Soo search the killer's car for evidence, they are ambushed by Sang-do's right-hand man and his henchmen. A violent confrontation ensues, resulting in the death of Sang-do's second-in-command. Dong-Soo arranges for the body to be buried and cleans up the scene. Tae-Suk is then assigned a kidnapping case. The serial killer, having recently murdered another man, is now pretending to have kidnapped him in an attempt to extort money from the victim's wife. Tae-Suk instructs the wife to deliver the ransom money to a predetermined drop-off location, hoping to catch the kidnapper in the act. During the investigation, Tae-Suk spots the killer. A chase follows, but the killer manages to flee. Through forensic analysis, Tae-Suk discovers that the killer is a missing person and informs Dong-Soo about his findings. A voice recording further confirms that the missing person is indeed the killer. Later, Dong-Soo helps a young girl by giving her his umbrella, only to later find out she has been murdered, with his umbrella left at the crime scene. They begin their search for the killer and ultimately track him down to his car. Another car chase ensues, but the killer escapes once more. Eventually he is captured and brutally beaten by Dong-Soo. However, before Dong-Soo can kill him, the killer murders Oh-sung. In a final confrontation, Dong-Soo attempts to kill the killer but is stopped when Tae-Suk crashes his car into Dong-Soo's, arresting the killer in the process. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, the killer, now identified as Kang Kyung-ho, is arrested. Dong-Soo, the sole survivor of the attack, testifies against him, helping secure his conviction. Dong-Soo also predicts the presence of a stab wound on Kyung-ho's body, which he inflicted during their first encounter, and provides false evidence to frame Kyung-ho for the murder of Sang-doo. In the end, Kyung-ho is sentenced to death and Dong-Soo is arrested for his own criminal activities. Tae-Suk receives a long-awaited promotion, while Dong-Soo is transferred to the same prison where Kyung-ho is being held, a transfer Dong-Soo had requested in exchange for his testimony. In the prison, while Kyung-ho is taking a shower, Dong-Soo approaches him with a smile, holding a rope, preparing for their final confrontation. Guys, we hope that you like this recap. Subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.